everybody, my name is Dan Shimolinski. People like to call me Shimmy, and you can too. And today we are back in my studio to take a look at the Caisa Drum library. Now, this is one of the most beautiful instruments in Soundpaint, in my opinion. And if you don't know what a Caisa Drum is, you've definitely heard one before. It's really popular in the scoring world. You'll hear it in film scores, TV shows, video games, mostly for action sequences, but it's actually a really warm and resonant instrument. And so it's kind of sentimental in that way as well. So we're going to take a look at all of the different articulations, some programs, how we can make some sounds with it, and let's check it out. If I were to describe the Caisa Drum, I would kind of say it's a cross between a steel drum, but not really, because the tone and the timbre of the instrument is a little clearer. You get a little more definition of the note, and there's just a lot of really interesting things you can do with it. And as we're looking at the parts within Soundpaint, we have 3 different articulations: brushes, fingers, and mallets. And what I'll say about this instrument specifically is I've never played a Caisa Drum. I've never been in the presence of a Caisa Drum, but when you're playing this on your keyboard or your MIDI controller of choice, you do feel like you are actually playing a drum instrument, which is something that I feel like sometimes gets lost in drum sample libraries. Sometimes it feels very disconnected from the user, and with Soundpaint's revolutionary velocity control, you are really feeling like you are controlling this instrument with such a fine level of detail. So I just want to go through the parts and what they sound like. You get 3 of them, as I mentioned, and yeah, let's check out brushes. So beautiful. So you're getting that kind of warmth that you expect from maybe a steel drum, but it has that beautiful kind of attack, and it's just something that really evokes sensitivity for me. Very, very cool. Let's check out fingers. So that's beautiful. I mean, I don't know if what I just played is capable or, even possible on the Caisa Drum, but as I mentioned in my intro, the velocities just respond exactly how you expect them to. It's incredible. I mean, I've been using this MIDI controller for a while now, and I've never felt more like it's in tune with what I want to play than in this library specifically. I mean, the range you get is just... It's amazing. It's really, really amazing. Such a joy to play. Let's check out the mallets, the soft mallets. Cool. So this is a timbre that you'd more associate with a more traditional steel drum, but still there's something to it that just makes it better. I don't know. A lot of times when you play with steel drum libraries, things kind of get lost in the mix a little bit. They tend to have just like a low mid-range resonance that this doesn't have. Like this actually, the note actually speaks as you'd want it to. And as I hit it just a little harder, you can hear the pitch kind of wavers a little bit. That's such a natural artifact of the instrument. So cool. And as you're listening to this, I mean, as a sound designer, what I'm listening for is you just this nice bed of warmth, but there's all this upper harmonic resonance happening. I mean, that is just prime for the effects and blending options that you have in Soundpaint. So now that we've taken a look at the core parts, let's see them in action. We can head over to our program section where you get a list of wonderful sound designs, basically showing off these parts in various effects, combinations, maybe mixing with some other libraries, and you get quite a few of them here. I've hearted some of my favorites, and I'd love to just jump into them and check out what they sound like. So let's start with Brush ARP. So if we head to our ARP section, yes, we'll see that Trolls gave us a awesome little sequence here, and let's check out what it sounds like. Oh yeah. Oh, I could jam on this. He's given us a 25 note, 25 note. I'm trying to find the downbeat, like where the loop part is. He's given us a 25 note sequence, but that's kind of cool. I like that. I mean, I love stuff that's slightly irregular like that. When I play in Soundpaint, I am not really thinking about trying to create the most perfect loopable things, you know, with all this velocity information that you can put in, and the real time, you know, recording in, it's just fun to mess around and play. So that's, I mean, I could jam on that for hours, but such a beautiful tone. I didn't even touch the mod wheel, but since it's a Trolls preset, I know that it's probably affecting something in the EQ. Oh yeah. Giving us a little air in the upper kind of 8K register. That's such a sweet spot. Very, very cool. But you see what I mean? Like that's just a beautiful underscore for, say, an action sequence or something where there's a little suspense or drama. And you've definitely heard that kind of sound before, right? So very, very cool. Let's check out Crystal Cavern. So I see our ARP section is engaged here. Oh, but it's all... okay. This is kind of a cool trick I've come across before. Basically, you know, there's no like long sustain version of this, you know, no part of long sustain because the instrument itself doesn't. But if you have it repeat very quickly and you put it through something washy like, yeah, like a rain delay and a shimmer reverb, you'll kind of get this drone effect. And this is a great example of how you can use this library to achieve basically any kind of you know, spectral sound or any kind of underscore, any kind of atmosphere that you want, because it's such a resonant instrument that the possibilities are endless. So let's check out what this sound designer did with this. That's so neat. I had to click over to the filter section because I was like, what's the ladder filter doing? Because it's such a cliche to just go to the cutoff, or the low pass on the ladder. But this sound designer has used high pass, which is very cool. So you get kind of that, as you're raising the mod wheel, you get kind of that lifting, shimmery thing that's just going to play straight into the shimmer reverb and the rain delay. Very atmospheric, very, very kind of wispy and just, yeah, spiritual. That's what I'm getting from that. Very nice. Let's check out Faded Memories. Stunning. And what I'm loving about this particular program is it uses the distortion in a really tasteful way. A lot of times when you're working with digital distortion specifically, it just gets kind of nasty. And for me, the distortion units in Soundpaint, I've loved them ever since I saw it on day one when it had all these little weapons of choice icons. It's just really tasteful and just gives a nice little warmth, a nice little sizzle to it that just, isn't overbearing. It doesn't eat up your sound. And this is a great example of how to just make your sound warmer using the distortion unit. So almost sounds like kind of like a glass library or something, but no, we're just using 2 layers here of soft mallets and fingers, and just a stunning use of everything. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's check out Oasis. Now I am seeing here that we have some instruments from other libraries. We have electric cello, mandolin, choral. I don't even know what this is going to sound like, but and on top of the Caisa fingers. So this is a program that will only show up in your library if you have all of these other libraries. They're kind of hidden gems, I think Trolls likes to call them. And yeah, this is absurd. I mean, when would you ever be able to have all of this stuff happening at once? I'm so excited to hear what this sounds like. And let's check out our effects section. Cool, matrix, cool. And that low pass filter, nice. All right, let's check this one out. This is the thing that I love about Soundpaint, because look what we're dealing with here. I mean, we are dealing with 3 completely different libraries treated beautifully through this amazing effects chain, and you're ending up with an instrument that is uniquely your own. This is not something that will ever be created specifically again, just because of the wide variety of things that you're using and executing it all in Soundpaint so seamlessly. I mean, that's stunning. That evokes so much beauty. Yeah, that's a great program. I love that. Let's check out Skybridge. So again, we're using our analog distortion going through a gate, which is mapped to the mod wheel, so it gets a little more crisp and precise, just bringing up the mix as we raise the mod wheel. So that's very cool. Going through a compressor, delay, lexicon reverb. Yeah, very, very cool. Check out Snowflakes. That's awesome. So we're using the chord mode in ARP, which means that it allows you to play. I don't know if you saw, but you got to kind of hit it precisely to make it speak when you want it to when it's in chord mode. But super musical, going through a bit crusher, which I love that. Oh, yes. Adding more upper harmonic information to an already very upper harmonic-y instrument. So that's really, really neat. And we're using the morph tool. I'm kind of intrigued here what the morph sounds like. I'm going to go ahead and turn off all the effects and just listen to our core sound. So this is the brushes combined with the mallet, and we're morphing the mallets into the brushes. I see. So we're getting the warmth and roundness of the mallet, but we're getting the articulation of the brushes. So it's this kind of hybrid, plume of a sound, but it's got the little texture from the brushes on the attack of the note. That's very, very interesting. Very, very cool. Let's check out Strange Organ. All right. On the surface here, nothing looks quite that strange. We have the mallets, the brushes. Oh, I'm seeing some LFO action here on the pitch of the brushes part. And yeah, all right, let's see what happens here. And we have a reverse setting here, so you can actually change per part whether you want it to play straight or reverse. And that's a really neat trick, so I like that. It does actually kind of sound like an organ. Mod wheel brings in some plate reverb. That rocks. See, this is awesome. I mean, we're dealing with layers of Caisa Drum to kind of create this hybrid organ sound. Very, very cool. And yeah, it's such a fun trick to be able to kind of make these samples sound like other things, because what you end up with is no organ sounds like that. And that's such a unique timbre that is really fun to play with. So I like that a lot. This is one of mine. This is actually called Warm Caisa. When I hear the Caisa Drum, I'm thinking about it. I don't know what's actually physically possible in terms of how you play it. And so when I heard it for the first time, I was thinking, wow, it would be very cool if this was kind of like strung out and played like a piano. And so one of my very first instincts was to combine it with the piano. And so I have a layer here of the modern grand piano, the C7, and it's just going through a little EQ and Alexi reverb, and yeah, it's just a warm sound, and I liked the two articulations together and the note length, so let's check it out. out. That's, you know, I'm now looking back at what I did. So when I raise the mod wheel, I'm actually lowering the volume of the piano. And this piano tone is already very low. I love the per part tone control. That's just really, really, you know, very where I'd want it. You know, I don't want to go deep diving into menus to, you know, individually control the tone of each part. So I've got the piano pretty low. Let's hear what just the piano sounds like. So I'm definitely using the piano to add even more bottom and kind of floof to the sound. And as I raise the mod wheel, you can see that the tone of the finger layer is getting brighter, the volume of the finger layer is getting brighter, and the piano layer is actually getting softer. So very much intending for the sound to get brighter as I raise the mod wheel. I think if I were to go back and make some changes, I would maybe make the piano layer even a little bit louder. Yeah, really very cool blend. And finally, let's check out Water Drum. So we are using a layer from the beautiful Noises library called Water. And this is gonna, I think, transport you immediately to a image or a place or a feeling just based on this combination. It did for me at least. So let's check it out. How cool is that? I mean, that is just a classic underscore for any kind of like nature, foresty imagery that you're going for. Yeah, I love the beautiful Noises library. I know maybe I'll get a chance to cover that later, but just so cool combining nature. I mean, this is already such a nature sounding instrument that when you add the water effects, it just transports you. It's the closest thing to teleportation that I think we can get to in Soundpaint. So. And that is a few of my favorite programs. You can, of course, make your own, and we should make some of our own, don't you think? Let's check it out. I'm going to check out this brushes part one more time. This is just such a beautiful articulation. I mean, so much is happening. You get a clear pitch, you get a clear attack, you get a really, really nice textural sensation, and it responds beautifully, as I've said numerous times. So that might be a good place to start if we are creating something from scratch. And I like to play with envelopes, you know. I like to hear what it would sound like with maybe no release. That's for my Fast and the Furious fans. That's a weird reference, sorry, but I'll leave it in. I like to play with envelopes and just see what kind of motion I can get. So I'm going for a harsher, shorter decay, basically. And I think, let's try something that evolves. I'm gonna pull up a second part of the same articulation, and I'm gonna pull up the offset tool. I like using the offset tool and the reverse button down here, but that's also an option here if you want. I'm gonna turn this layer off and just deal with my second layer. And let's hear what it sounds like backwards. Takes quite some time to get there, doesn't it? So we can drag where the sample starts using the offset tool here. Okay, cool. So let's try this. Let's have part one kind of be our quick attack start of the instrument, and let's make it kind of on the duller side, because that reverse sound is so harsh. It's so it kind of just zips real quick. So let's see what our first part sounds like with a darker tone. Yeah. I'm almost tempted to just have it be down. Yeah. Ooh. And again, we're dealing with so much upper harmonic information that even when the tone is brought way down to almost, as far as it'll go, you get that kind of resonance, that feeling of it's going to sound great in a reverb in a second here. And then we bring in our next layer here. Oh. Woo! I love that. That's so effective. Yes. Very, very cool. I like where this is going. Let's head over to our effects section and let's bring in maybe a Bucket Brigade delay. A little too literal for me. Let's maybe try one of these guys here. Oh, that's so cool. So that's a really ultra fast. You can just hear it adds a little bit of almost like LFO action. Well, it is an LFO, but I like that. I could even use a little more of it. Not that much. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, nice. Now let's throw that into a reverb. I think shimmer is gonna be the one, and I'm actually gonna have the pitch mix be pretty low. That's quite the long trail. Let's bring that down just a little bit. And I think even less pitch. I'm a big fan of shorter time, but maybe just a slightly larger size. Let's see what that sounds like. And let's bring that modulation depth up. I love that. Oh, that's so eerie. Cool. I almost feel like we could let the Caisa Drum speak a little bit more and pull back on the amount of reverb and maybe even back on the amount of delay a little bit. Another trick, even to add even more resonance, is maybe let's try grabbing a filter. Let's try the modern analog filter and put it here. That's cool. Oh, there it is. That's the sweet spot. Oh, yeah. It was just a little too literal for me. That's nice. Oh, that's beautiful. Bring up the resonance even a touch more. Wow. And this is maybe a situation where I would mess with assigning an LFO to the cutoff just to see what that sounds like. Maybe nice and slow, nothing too abrupt, because we're trying to create kind of a sentimental underscore-y kind of vibe here. Just a little bit. I just like to kind of goose it in the range that I have it. Oh yeah. Very nice. There you go. I would maybe refine that a little bit, but that's kind of a basic idea of something that you can use to kind of create an evolving, really emotional, sentimental patch. Not really that complex. You know, our matrix basically only ends up being just an LFO to the cutoff. Yeah, there's a lot you can do here, but that's really, really fun. Let's make another sound. I'm a big fan of making instruments in Soundpaint sound like other instruments. I think it's a fun exploration, and you know where I'm going with this. I'm a big synth guy. I'm gonna load the Mallets soft part here on part 1, and I'm kind of curious to see what this would sound like with a glockenspiel. I feel like we could get to a synth kind of vibe with that. Let's see. Loading 2 parts that are in a common family like this, 2 tonal percussion instruments, gives it kind of a common sound, but it's different. So definitely try messing with loading different types of sounds within a greater heading, if you know what I mean. Like what we're going to get here, I think, is kind of an upper super bright sound and a warmer sound underneath. So the 2 should really sound nice together. Interesting. I'm wondering if I can pitch this glockenspiel. No, I mean, that's it. Oh, that's neat. You hear where I'm going with this? I think we can get a little bit of a DX70 sound. Let's go ahead and assign an LFO to the micro pitch. See, we went from one practical sound to one not so practical sound, but I just hope you understand that, you know, this is to demonstrate Soundpaint. You can take any of these libraries and take them anywhere you want to go. I'm a synth guy. I want to see if I can make a synth sound. It's that simple. And you know, I'm wondering if I can tune, because the fundamental is so strong in the Caisa Drum part, I'm wondering if I can tune the glockenspiel based on the upper harmonic. So let's see. Let's bring down the volume. Mostly Caisa. This is a Caisa demonstration anyway, right? And that LFO could be a little more tasteful, I think. Interesting. I'm going to go ahead and try adding a chorus to this sound to really get us into that kind of 80s FM vibe. The chorus is one of the most tasteful and beautiful effects in Soundpaint. You get some really cool presets here. I designed a few of them, and I'm really in love with these Juno 106 settings that I made. I actually literally had my Juno on next to me and tried to very closely match the chorus speed and style. So they're pretty spot on, in my opinion, if I do say so myself. Let's try what setting 1 sounds like. Cool. I could even use a little more extreme. Let's try setting 2. Oh, that's better. Even juice up the wetness of it. Yeah. Kind of getting into that 80s vibe. You knew this is where we were going. You came into my studio, you looked around. making synth sounds out of Caisa drums. Oh man. Let's throw it in a Lexi reverb. And I'm gonna try, I mean, why not? 80s synth. Could use even a little bit more of that. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's just super fun to blend this and make other instruments out of instruments. It's my, yeah, it's a blast. We'll throw an EQ on here just to give it that kind of sparkle that we love. Maybe the 5-band is cool. Let's see. I'm going to throw a little high shelf in here around the 8K mark. That's where I kind of find it to be most effective, just to give it that little sparkle that I think we're looking for. Oh, there it is. And I like to mess with where stuff falls in the signal flow. So right now we've got the EQ after the reverb, which means you're taking, it's left to right. So you've got your core parts going through the chorus into the reverb, and then you're putting an EQ on the sound of that through the reverb. So you may want to put it before the reverb so it's affecting the sound that goes into the reverb, if that makes sense. I like to try both, so let's just see what it sounds like. Cool. See, I like it after because it's accentuating the lexicon profile and just giving it that little sparkle on the end. Very interesting to play with the order in which you have your effect, something that may not be your first thought, but you can get some really interesting effects. I mean, putting the chorus at the end, putting delays at the end, things that maybe don't make quite as much sense to someone who maybe has done a lot of signal flow stuff, but ends up with some really cool results. So So yeah, that just goes to show you that you can make anything out of anything in Soundpaint. These sounds are so flexible, and the parts that you get with the Caisa library are great foundations to build whatever you want. As I've said before, creating instruments out of instruments that sound nothing like the original thing is just as fun as playing a really high quality library of really sensitive, velocity, beautifully structured tonal percussion sounds. So it's just a really great library to work with. I hope this has kind of given you an idea of how you can use the library in both practical and non-practical scenarios, but it's one of my favorites. I hope you check it out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and my name is Dan Shimolinski, or Shimmy, and I'll see you next time. Take care.